from the inside of a cloud on the Isle of Lewis. Welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
Coming up this week, think the Tour de France is hard? Hold my beer. We hear from Lachlan Morton as he starts his epic race to beat the pro peloton around France, but completely self-supported and having ridden an extra 2,000 kilometres.
Ouch. We've also got more news from the biggest bike race in the world, the first female winner of the race across America, a brand new Pinarello, plus Si and I are taking French lessons. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt how not to watch a bike race. Here is a spectator causing half the Tour de France peloton to crash.
Facepalm moment there. So we've come up with the genius idea of writing a book entitled How to Watch a Bike Race.
It's a short book,
It is.
isn't it? And we'll read the entire contents to you now so that nobody has to buy it.
Number 1, keep your eyes on the bike race, otherwise it's hard to watch.
Number 2, stand on the side of the road, not on it.
And number 3, don't hold a sign out into the road as the riders pass.
And they all lived happily ever after. The end.
Yeah, now we also learned this week that race tactics don't really matter anymore, not if you're as strong as Mathieu Van der Poel anyway. He ripped up the rulebook by attacking on each of the 2 ascents up the Mur de Bretagne to win stage 2 and take the yellow jersey.
And yellow helmet, and yellow bike, and yellow glasses, and yellow Wahoo.
Head unit. I thought maybe
Yes.
that was just a bit more detail than we needed, Dan. Now, we also learned this week that, of course, the Tour de France is the pinnacle of men's cycling. But more than that, it's known far and wide outside of cycling too, and in no small part due to it being considered to be one of the toughest professional sporting events in the world.
Although actually, it doesn't look that hard compared to what one pro cyclist is attempting to do this July. Think the Tour is hard? I'm not going to repeat hold my beer, so I've never said that in my life, but Lachlan Morton is going to show how a Tour de France could be done. This is the Out Tour.
Over to our mates at GCN en Français, Florian and Loïc.
Thank you guys. We are here on the ground in Brittany for the Tour de France Grand Départ, and when we heard about Lachlan's plan, we decided to come and visit him. Hi Lachlan, thank you for welcoming us before your big challenge. Can you tell us what is it about?
Yeah, basically I'm going to ride the tour route by myself, unsupported, and I'm going to do the complete route. So in between the stages, I'll also ride instead of the regular transfer. So it's 5,500 kilometers, more or less. And I'm hoping to get to Paris before the race, or at least on the same day. So that's the idea.
So basically it means no rest day,
Yeah.
all the transferred cycling.
Yeah.
So it means sometime between 2 stages, even during the tour, the riders come into the Pullman and they just rest, and
Yeah.
you will have to cycle that.
Yeah, it's quite a big amount of kilometers every day that I need to do to get to Paris on the same day. There's a big transfer to get to Paris where the riders will fly, and that adds on 700k for me. So I'm going to have to get ahead of the race. I think more or less for the first week, I should be on the same stage, doing the stage plus the transfer each day until the first rest day. Then I'm going to try and get a bit ahead when the stage allows it, you know? So the first week it's almost impossible because every day is pretty close to 300 kilometers already. So to push much further than that, I think you pay for it a bit later on. I think it's an average of about 12 hours of moving time every day. Riding, like physically riding for 12 hours each day, and then probably another hour or 2 on top of that. The bike weighs a ton, like with all my stuff. So the climbing stages are going to take a long time. So even though some of those days are closer to 200k than 300, they're still going to be very long days.
How much is the bike, you know?
Its weight, I don't know. I just packed it up fully now, and it feels like it's at least twice as heavy because I have my whole sleeping system, food, clothes, and then a big 3 litre water bladder, so it's heavy.
So there is no way you are going to go in a hotel room for a night?
Yeah, there's nothing planned for hotels. It's like, if I really need it, I'm gonna do it, you know? Like, if I'm really cold or wet, or like, you know, there's gonna be a day in there that you think takes 10 hours, but it takes 20, you know? And then like you need that rest, but there's nothing planned. So the idea for me is I'd rather sleep outside more than inside.
Thank you, Lachlan, again, and good luck for your challenge.
Thanks, guys.
That's going to be really a good one.
Yeah.
Funny sometime, but
it's going to be tough, but we'll see what happens.
Well, fair play, Lachlan. That is a quality idea. Harking back, I think, down to the earliest Tours de France. And as well as having a good old adventure, we should say he's fundraising for World Bicycle Relief. EF and Rafa have both got massively behind it, as you might imagine, and have both donated substantial sums as well, pledging 1,000 bikes for World Bicycle Relief.
That's great, isn't it? What an amazing adventure he's going to have as well. And he's doing well so far. Apparently, he had to call it a day on the first day at midnight after the late start, but is now about half a day ahead of the pro peloton.
Nice. You know, he really reminds me of someone in that interview. I'm thinking like Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper?
Yeah, do you not think?
Well, looking at the EF Pro Cycling website, he has actually got a playlist up on there, and he's actually got quite good taste, at least when you compare it to what Chris Froome put up on Strava.
You mean no Carly Rae Jepsen?
No, that is distinctly lacking on this playlist.
He will definitely have some Phil Collins, though, for sure. Now, Florian was keen to ask one final question, a question of particular interest, I think, to a Frenchman.
How is your French? Are you ready to order?
No, my French sucks.
Où sont les toilettes?
Où sont les toilettes?
Où sont les toilettes?
That's
Where's
perfect.
the toilet?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Can I have the menu?
Yeah.
Can be.
Okay.
Je peux avoir le menu?
Je peux à la menu.
Je peux avoir le menu?
Avoir. Je
Avoir
peux
le menu.
avoir.
Je peux avoir le menu.
Perfect. You're ready.
What about, can I get something to eat?
Est-ce que je peux manger quelque chose?
Okay. Again?
You can.
What about, is there somewhere to sleep? Or can I sleep here?
Je peux dormir ici?
Je peux dormir?
Dormir.
Je peux dormir ici?
Dormir ici.
Ici.
Okay. Maybe I'll be asking someone for their backyard or something.
And one last one that Florian seemed to forget. Une grosse bière, s'il vous plaît.
Ah, bien sûr. 12 euros, s'il vous plaît. Anyway, make sure you follow Lachlan on Instagram for updates. Actually, a trendy guy like that. He's probably on TikTok as well, but we wouldn't know.
No. I couldn't help but notice as well, Si, that he is so trendy, he's even utilising a bum bag.
Wow. I mean, can you imagine how ridiculous you would look sporting a bum bag or a fanny pack? It's the same thing, actually, isn't it? Anyway, while we don't have live coverage of the Alp Tour, we do have live coverage of the actual tour.
Yeah, thanks to all of you who've joined our coverage on the Great Race already for what was a particularly memorable opening 2 days, and probably a memorable third.
Yes, we haven't seen that just yet, but we will be watching it after recording this. Don't forget, by the way, that there is, of course, pre- and post-race shows called The Breakaway, and that you can also get involved yourselves. You can upload pictures of your favourite Tour de France memories to the GCN app, and if you use the hashtag TDF2021, it'll appear in our special feed dedicated to all things related to the Great Race.
As ever, we have to say this, territory restrictions do apply, but if you can join us, make sure you do. GCN Inspiration time now. 3 prizes on offer each week. Third placed prize this week is a GCN Elite water bottle, and unlike if you win the Caption Competition, no choice on size or colour. You're going to get a 550ml bottle in red.
That's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say no. Red water bottle. Anyway, without further ado, the winner of said water bottle is R. Kingsland with this awesome photo. Check it out. A quick stop on my 40th birthday century ride. Wow. No idea where that is, but I would quite like to know because that is a cool photo.
It's definitely not Amsterdam, is it? That's
No.
below sea level and they're above the clouds. No, we've got no idea where it is. It could be anywhere apart from that, really, but it is a cracking photo and a well-deserved red water bottle.
To go with your Celeste green ones on your on your pink bike there.
Mix and match.
Oh, look, lovely.
And second place this week is Zero Gravity. So you'll be getting an Epic Climbs Col de Galibier t-shirt. Reaping the benefits of having your kids to ride on Zwift regularly, my 10-year-old and 6-year-old completed a 49.7 kilometre bike ride with me the day after Father's Day. Very
Goodness
nice
me,
indeed.
yeah. I never really thought about training your kids intensely on Zwift so that you could do cool stuff with them.
So that you can,
I like that idea.
So that by a very young age, they can accompany you on a half decent ride.
Yeah.
You need to get onto that side.
Yeah, okay, just do 5 1-minute maxes and then 10 minutes at threshold and you're done for today.
Yeah. And then you have to ride the transitions between each stage as well.
Anyway, that is a cool photo. Jokes aside, that is awesome. Right, first place this week and winning a French Tour bundle. Oh yeah, so not only core yellow t-shirts, but yellow water bottle and a GCN striped French sock. And a sweatshirt as well to boot. God, that's a bundle and a half, isn't it?
That is quite the bundle, isn't it? A French Tour bundle.
Anyway, without further ado, here is the winning photo from Mark O'Dell. Bikes on boats, sun setting over the bike, strapped to the roof of a rib on the way to Skye for up Belachnabar. Presumably to ride up Belachnabar?
Yeah, I thought so, yeah. I mean, that's quite the way to get to your bike ride, isn't it?
Pretty cool.
I'm saying hack for that one, even though we're not onto that part of the show yet. What a brilliant photo.
Yeah, that is awesome, isn't it?
Bikes on a boat. Yeah, that makes me quite want to ride my bike.
Well, actually, it doesn't, does it? It makes you want to go on a boat.
Yeah. Anyway, you know how to get involved, but just in case you don't and you're new to the GCN show, all you've got to do is download the GCN app, which is free, and then register an account and upload your inspirational cycling photos or videos. We'll pick 3 more next week.
It's now time for Cycling Shorts.
Cycling Shorts now, and we're going to start with the news that Leah Goldstein became the first female winner of the Race Across America, widely regarded as one of the toughest tests of endurance in any sport.
It is. Goldstein is no stranger to that event either, because she won the women's category in 2019 and first took part in 2011. And she's not somebody, Si, that you really want to mess with, because as well as cementing herself as an ultra-endurance legend at the age of 52 just a couple of days ago, she's also a former kickboxing world champion and Israeli undercover police officer.
Wow, who then went on to be a pro cyclist. He won the Tour de Gila, among other things, and represented Canada at the World Championships. Some people just have too much talent for their own good, don't they?
They do. I'm so jealous. She's an absolutely remarkable person with a remarkable background story. And the latest chapter, I guess, of that story took her a total of 11 days and 3 hours, which was her time to cover the 4,800 kilometres or 3,000 miles from one side of the US over to the other.
Now, that does sound impressive, Dan, but could she ride all the way from Moscow to California?
Well, I'd imagine she probably could.
Could she do it in just a few hours?
Well, no, that would be impossible.
Well, 3 Scottish cyclists managed just that, and a very pleasant ride it sounded too, from Moscow in Scotland to California in Scotland via Glasgow, all 82.5 kilometres of it.
Yeah, so just 50 miles. See what you did there. Now, we feel like this is old news a little bit now, but we've got to show the Alpecin Fenix team kit, which they raced in for the first stage of the Tour de France. A really classy nod to Van der Poel's grandfather, the late great Raymond Poulidor. Beloved throughout France and throughout cycling circles. He was the ultimate nearly man. 8 times he was on the podium at the Tour de France, but never won it and never even got to wear the yellow jersey even for a single day.
No, which makes Van der Poel's exploits on stage 2 even more incredible. And I will admit, I shed a tear watching him break down in that post-race press conference.
I broke down as well, which means I guess we had something in common with Mathieu van der Poel, even for a few fleeting moments, didn't we? Incidentally, that shiny yellow Canyon bike does have some lovely words on the top tube, which are dedicated to his grandfather, Poulidor. Really nice touch.
That is cool, isn't it? Yeah. And now here is a little bit of tech news for you. Pinarello launched the new Dogma last week, the Dogma F, and it's their latest and greatest new bike that's currently being ridden around France by the Ineos Grenadiers. The big news is a dramatic loss in weight, saving 256 grams off the weight of its predecessor, as well as actually they've refined the aerodynamics to save an additional watt or 2.
I quite like Pinarello's approach to their bikes because they don't do like a split range, do they? One that's light and one that's aero. They've got one bike that's good for both.
Yeah.
They still also have a rim brake version, and tyre clearance is limited to 28 millimetres. I like that a lot.
It's like a proper road bike, isn't it? Now, we'll finish Cycling Shorts by saying a huge thank you to those of you who gave such positive feedback to the Mike Woods behind-the-scenes documentary from Flèche-Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which was uploaded to GCN Plus last week, wasn't it, I think? They were lovely to read.
They were very nice to read, yeah. They did a great job on that one. And if you haven't already watched it, make sure you do. It's available now over on GCN Plus. And we've got 2 more racing-related documentaries coming out this week. The first of those should already be out, actually, by the time you get to watch this. That is the Tom Simpson letters, so exclusive personal letters that Simpson himself wrote to friends and family back home in the UK to give them an additional insight into his career when he was out in Europe.
Yeah, and then the second will be out on Friday, and that's looking at the art of the breakaway. Dan was joined on the sofa by Magnus Backstead and Brian Smith, who, along with some special guests, looked into what makes a successful breakaway and a successful breakaway artist.
I was on the touch screen for that one, Si. And again, though, we'd love your feedback on that one as well, because if you like it, we'll probably do some more along similar lines if it goes down well. Just before we finish the Cycling Shorts, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we are sporting some new T-shirts.
They won't have noticed.
No way. No, I thought I'd better point it out.
Yeah.
As you all know, the yellow jersey represents the leader of the Tour de France. It's not quite as yellow as our T-shirt, is it? But you get the idea, and they're available over on the GCN shop right now. Hack /Bodge of the week now, and we are going to start off with a corker.
Hey!
This came in from Andrina on the Move. Next generation tubeless tyres found at Kew Gardens in Niagara, Ontario. Perhaps they've discovered the way to ride and not get a puncture.
Yeah, that's Kew Vineyards rather than Kew Gardens, I think, Dan.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering to myself, I didn't realise there were more than one Kew Gardens in the world.
Well, there you go. But no,
do you know what? I was just so happy with my joke, I just wasn't reading properly afterwards.
Quality. There we go. Anyway, I like that. I think that's kind of cool, isn't it?
Do you reckon you can ride it?
I don't see why not.
I like the cork spokey dokies as well, actually.
Yeah, I do.
Although they wouldn't make the same kind of noise, would they, as you're
No, they
riding around
wouldn't.
as a kid?
I wouldn't be tempted to like really push it hard into corners.
Well, partly because I wouldn't be particularly confident about the gluing process.
No, that's true actually. And also,
I'd imagine it would be reasonably comfortable, I thought, because cork is quite. It's not particularly solid, is it? So
it's not. No.
Yeah.
Oh, we've given this quite some thought now, haven't we?
We have. We should probably move on because we've got 22 more. No, we haven't got that many.
Hack or Bodge?
I'm going to go with Hack, just because it looks so interesting. I would like to ride it.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with Bodge
because everyone else did.
Well, it's because someone's taken the tyres off and replaced them with cork. Seems like a lousy idea.
63% went with Bodge.
Right, okay, fair enough. Right, next up, we've got this one from the Yorkshire Enigma. First bike packing trip on a new bike. Unfortunately, the weekend's heavy rain made riding through bridleways across Clayfields hard work, so that the rear derailleur snapped, but fortunately it snapped at the bolt, so they've bungeed it back together by the look of it. So,
managed to get 4 gears to cover the 10 miles home. Well, it is a hack, isn't it?
That is a roadside hack.
Yeah, that's the true definition of it. So the 33% of you that went for Bodge, come on.
Yeah.
Got them home with 4 gears.
I tell you what though, you were lucky, Yorkshire Enigma. I've had quite a few rear mechs snap over the years in mud. Yeah, I have. Never have they ever snapped in a way that meant that you could repair it. It was always like,
yeah,
nightmare.
Single speed on the way back.
Yep.
Next up, this from John F. Moss, top tube bag. My wife made me this top tube bag with material she had spare in her sewing basket. So it didn't cost me anything. Included in the bag are 2 tubes, a pump, multi-tool, and something else, which for some reason on my computer is scrubbed out.
Yeah, I can't see that either. And I can see some letters. Potatoes? Maybe?
3D printed zip ties, I think it says there.
And
it does look like potatoes.
Patches.
Either way, what a great job your wife has done.
That does look like a really good top tube bag.
And if you ever have to carry a bike, that would make it far more comfortable on your shoulder, wouldn't it?
Do you know what? If your wife still has some spare material lying around, you could ask for a bum bag next. Couldn't you?
Well, it depends on the age of John F. Moss, because might well be too old and not cool enough, like us, to wear a fanny pack or bum bag.
No, because there's lots of old people wear wear bum bags.
There are, yeah, but I think there's a period in the middle of your life where you're not young enough, hipster enough and cool enough, well you are, to wear it. In the middle, neither apply, and then you get old enough to wear it at the other end of your life.
You're saying you've fallen into the bum bag crack? You can't wear one anymore.
You could put it that way, yes. That is exactly where I am in my life right now.
To be fair, mate, I feel your pain. I tried to buy a pair of glasses last year, and when I sent a picture of me wearing the glasses to my wife, she said, "Absolutely not. You cannot buy those." I disagreed, but everyone I've shown that photo to since then has said, "Actually, yeah, no, I'm not young and cool enough to wear them."
Were they the wrong prescription lenses for you? Is that why you couldn't see how daft you looked at the time?
Well, I mean, do you want to see the photo?
Go on then.
Go on, right, let me get my photo.
Well, you should be uploading this to the app for people to vote on.
Well, it's not technically very cycling related. They're not cycling glasses.
Whilst you get that up, I'm going to go to the next hack and bodge, which came in from Colin Fiedler. A motorbike. Saw while stopping for some water at a gas station, custom bike with an engine with a custom mount in the truck, and the truck itself looks... I definitely think you could have pulled those off-site.
Yeah?
You should go back and buy them, actually, and wear them on the show next week.
Do you want to see them? Hang on, let's... Hack or bodge?
Let us know in the comments below. Comments are going to go wild.
If you think, honestly, I will go back and get those because I still like them. I will, you know, my wife really tried hard to put me off.
But, we could start a crowdfunding campaign to raise the money for you to go back and buy them, Si.
Hey, buy one, get one free where I get my glasses from.
Yeah. All right, well, anyway, this motorbike, I am going to say bodge, only because I've just seen so many of those at this point where people convert a normal bike, put a motor on it, although I do like the truck.
Yeah, the truck's cool, but yeah, I mean, that is just a motorbike, that one, isn't it, I think?
It is, yeah. But 55% of people said hack.
Really?
For that one.
They also really like the truck. Right, next up, now here's an interesting one. Bit of a head scratcher. Tony444 said, stop your disc brakes from that awful screeching, which sounds good, by smearing copper grease on the metal backing plate of the pad. Now, he said, it will not work if your pads or disc is contaminated, so don't get grease on the pad, although that will actually stop them from squeaking as well, just stop them from working, so be careful. But anyway, he said, ask any car mechanic what they do with car disc brakes, and the two systems are the same. It makes me nervous, Dan.
Well, we'll get Hank to try that, I think,
good idea,
at some point to see if it works. If you've had any experience of using copper grease in this manner, let us know on that one too, although we'll be hard to find in comments about that, for comments about size potential new glasses. Next up, this from Stark Mapper. Cycle or sail or both. Dangling your bike above the canal is actually a well-known anti-theft tactic here in the Netherlands, but it took me up another look to realise that this was far more exciting.
Ooh. Does look exciting, doesn't it?
Another one for Hank.
Absolutely.
Lots of tasks at the end of this week's show.
Yeah.
Hack.
Yeah, I think that's hack. Well, I mean, it's a proper thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder how fast they are.
Yeah, this could actually be a retail product, and we're just deciding whether or not it's a hack or a bodge. But yeah, 76% of people went with hack for that particular one.
I'd like a GCN presenter challenge. Imagine going down like some rapids, some whitewater rapids in that. It'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think you'd lose.
Well, I would.
The last one today is the best.
My words, Rock Hill, 3D printed hack, GPS mount with inspirational quote. Love is power. Daniel Lloyd, 2016.
For viewers that have only started with this in the last, 4 years ago, was that
Something
at
like
least? I was doing a pro bike on Contador's bike. I can't remember where it was now. I think at the Vuelta a España.
I think it was.
And he had a graphic on his bike saying, "¿Qué es poder?" And I looked it up on Google, and I swear that it told me the translation was "love is power." Turns out that is nothing like. But that's the only thing in my head. That's the only. Whenever I think of Keres Poder, I think love is power. I don't know what the translation is.
That is quite an inspirational quote, and love is power, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
Well, and amazing. Thank you very much to Rock Hill for putting my inspirational quote on your 3D printed head unit mount. I am humbled.
I reckon you could probably sell that, Rock Hill, like inspirational quotes on head unit
things
mounts.
that Dan's got wrong.
Well, particularly if it is Lloydie quotes. Yeah, I like that one. I'll have one as well.
Okay,
please.
well, hack.
Yeah, if you can print up a Wahoo one, I'll take that. Thanks.
Don't forget to get involved with my quotes next week. All you need to do is go to the app, as ever, upload your photos, and we'll put out some next week. But the ones for next week's show are already on there. You just need to go and vote.
It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle.
Well, people might not actually be able to see it at the moment.
Because it's blend. Oh, yeah. Oh,
There's a lot of yellow going on this week, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Subtle yellow.
Presumably they can choose yellow.
They are limited edition, so if you would like to choose it, you haven't got long over on the GCN shop. But somebody, if they would like, actually I'm not sure whether they can choose that one.
We don't know.
I will keep this one in reserve. It is used actually by me, but if you would like a used yellow one, and we haven't got any left to send you out that are new, you can request that if you are the winner.
These kind of decisions are way above our pay grade, aren't they, mate? We don't know. Right, anyway, let's crack on, shall we? First of all, we will give you the results from last week's caption photo, which is this absolute pearl of a photo of Remco Evenepoel. And the winner, I think this might be one of my favourite captions of all time, Dan.
You were very pleased with this one.
I was, yeah. The winner is Music in Silico with UCI's third law. For every TTist, there must be an equal and opposite TTist. So clever.
That is...
Love it.
Well, again, you know, these decisions are above our head. That's sort of way over my head to think about for my own caption. I mean, I do get it. And it is very clever indeed.
Yeah, just take it at face value. Let's not think any deeper than that.
I don't think they're going to choose the second-hand yellow water bottle, being that clever. But anyway, let us know in a message over on Facebook what your address is and what colour of bottle you would like.
Why don't you write something inspirational on it? Like love is power. And then it will become it.
Yes, and then sign it and it'll be completely worthless. Right, this week's photo comes from just after the finish line of stage 2 of the Tour de France. I am going to get you started. Anti-gravitational pull. Is that really bad?
I've seen you gone with the old physics line again, so that's good.
Yeah,
but,
not quite as clever as the previous one by a long stretch.
It is a good photo, though, isn't it?
It looks like he's levitating.
It does.
Doesn't it?
He's a talented lad. I wouldn't put it past him to be able to levitate.
No, he's like cycling's David Blaine, isn't he?
Yeah, but just really fast. So there we go.
Get your teeth stuck into that one. I'm sure you'll come up with some belters, and the winner next week will get themselves a brand new water bottle. We will, as you know, be letting you know what's coming up on GCN very shortly. But first up, we've picked out 5 of our favourite comments from videos last week, starting with a couple underneath last week's show. This one from Mariusz Squalek. Did you know that in Poland, we call aero bars after Greg LeMond?
No.
Lemonka, which would be something like Le Mondes in English.
That is amazing cycling trivia.
It is, isn't
Is that
it?
actually, are you being serious,
Wow.
Marius? Because that's quality.
It
I
is.
think we should call them Le Mondes.
Le Mondes, yeah.
I like that.
Let's start a theme.
What an awesome
Might-
thing.
it might pick
Do any
on.
other countries call them Le Mondes? Can you let us know in the comments? That's quality. Anyway, another great bit of this kind of cycling.
Trivia, yeah.
Well, yeah, kind of trivia. Joe Bleasdale said Pedro Delgado was recently on the Spanish edition of Celebrity MasterChef, and one of the team tasks, various contestants were given a prologue penalty, which meant they had to sit out for 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
This related to last week's Tour de France mistake show, whereby Pedro Delgado missed the start of his time trial and prologue.
When
by
he was
that amount of
reigning
time.
champ.
Yes. Meanwhile, underneath the hardest 100-kilometre ride, Cisco wrote in saying, I tried to do this around Amsterdam. Didn't get more than 150 metres of climbing. Sorry, can't do better.
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Well, or fortunate.
Well, that's a good point, actually. I bet it was a fast 100-kilometre ride. Anyway, Marcus Partridge said, we all need to stop teasing Ollie. Yeah, so for not being an ex-pro, the man, says Marcus, is a beast. I consider myself to be a fairly fit amateur, and that ride would have killed me. Not sure I could have finished.
Well, Marcus there is making a point that quite a few of you have made, that we do perhaps just take the mick out of Ollie slightly too much, so perhaps we should finish it now.
Yeah, okay.
Food for thought.
Yeah,
But
all
we'll
right,
finish
sorry.
with comments underneath the top 10 things you didn't know about Strava. This one came in from Spin Diesel. Are you sure that's not Ollie's phone that Sai's using? Because it looks like it's been dropped.
Yeah. Honestly, I am sorry. I really should. When we were filming that, I got it out of my pocket to start filming, and I was like, oh, crap.
I'm not starting
That's
2
good,
crowdfunding campaigns for glasses and for a new phone or screen.
No. This one's on me. I accidentally stepped on it. The trouble with gravel is I stepped on my phone and that was a piece of gravel, did that.
Huh?
Yeah, so not like gravel riding, that was ornamental gravel, but less cool, isn't it? But there we go. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, I will get it fixed because I appreciate that, it's quite irritating.
In fact, I was trying. The only comments under that video were about your phone, to be honest. Somebody was asking whether you're going to fix it with zip ties.
No, I'm not. That would chafe awfully.
Anyway, this week on the channel, on Wednesday, we're going to be talking you through some mistakes that people tend to make on Zwift so that you don't make them when you first get into it. Thursday is the tech show, and on Friday, 10 things you shouldn't do on a descent. Is putting copper grease on your disc brake pads one of those?
Potentially, yes. Right, Saturday, you enjoyed the tandem versus 1? Well, we've gone out and done tandem versus 2. Oh yes. So stay tuned on that one, see whether or not we can topple the tandem duo. And then Sunday, it's going to be an absolute epic. Did we talk about it last week? Possibly. Mark Beaumont and Hank, anyway, rode from Land's End to John O'Groats. It's basically the furthest distance you can ride here in the UK, isn't it? 800 and something miles. And they did a relay, which is bonkers. Check it out. I think it very nearly broke them, didn't it?
Nearly, but as ever, not quite.
Not quite.
With either of those two. But yeah, well worth watching that one.
Yeah.
Monday, I'll be back with the Racing News Show, which is on the rest day of the Tour de France, the first rest day, in fact. And that is also when you'll be able to watch the World of Cycling next week. We're putting them out on the rest days so that you've got something extra to watch when there's no racing on. And speaking of racing, as you know, the Tour de France is on. There are territory restrictions, don't forget. But we've also, on Friday, got the biggest women's stage race currently on their calendar in the form of the Giro d'Onde. So that's 10 days long. Limited live coverage this year, but at least there is some live coverage. The last 15 kilometres of each stage. But if that's not enough for you, the following day we'll have longer 50-minute highlights with more of the race in there. So again, there are territory restrictions on that one. Not as many as the Tour de France, but please, before you subscribe, if you haven't done so already, check it's available where you are so that you're not disappointed.
Yeah.
Right, I think that brings us to the end.
I think it does.
GCN show. Don't forget to let us know what your thoughts are on Lachlan Morton's exploits, because I think that is an admirable adventure to take on in the first place, but particularly as he's doing it for World Bicycle Relief, which is a charity very close to all of our hearts here at GCN.
He could definitely get away with those glasses, couldn't he?
We're getting him back to what he can get away with.
I think he would, yeah, he's cool enough.
Well, if you buy them, then they don't work. Just give them to Lachlan. Right, thanks very much for watching. We'll be back next week. See you then.